is episode 2, season 11. This is Gadget Nation and me, Adam Carruthers, back in Sunway Tower, San Francisco Coffee House to be specific. So what do I have in store for you today? Well, let's see. I've got a new offering from BlackBerry, another superhero video game which I'm rather excited about, Clue, The Dark Knight, and a really fantastic little camera from Sony. All that on the show today, so let's start. BlackBerry's always in the news, usually in a negative way concerning the future of the company, but they're still coming out with products. So how does a new Z30 stand up against its competitors in this brand new market? I got my hands on the device, and here are my thoughts. Here I am at the Good Batch in Damansara Uptown, perfect place to review what I have here from BlackBerry. It's of course the Z30. You may have heard about it, so I'm just going to talk a wee little bit about it. All right, so just taking a look, it feels very nice in my hands. If you've tried out the Q10, the back may seem similar. It's that weave feeling to it. It feels very cool to hold in my hands. I'm really enjoying it, I have to say. As for the front, it is really nifty. This is about 5 inches more on the screen later on, just looking firstly at the build. But it really pops out at you. Maybe not as good as some of the other phones out there, but it certainly feels nice. Now, given that it's 5 inches, it's not quite as small as something like the S4, but it is smaller than the Xperia Z1, which is obviously a good thing as well. I'm quite liking it. It has this very solid feel, because of the fact that the glass here on the front, it goes edge to edge. At the bottom there, you can see this metal bar, which actually makes up the rest of the body along the side right there, giving it a very solid foundation as a device to be here in your hands. Obviously, along the side there, you've got the USB charger, you've got your HDMI there, you have the power button on top along the headphone jack, and on the other side right there, it's obviously the volume and something for you to play around with the camera. Very good start from this bad boy of a device. So what about this screen I was just mentioning? It's 5 inches, obviously, Super AMOLED, which means the colors really pack a punch. It comes out, there's nice inky blacks, and although the viewing angles aren't as great as something like the HTC One, which in itself is outstanding in its category, it's still a very nice screen. Day-to-day use, this will certainly do you nicely. In terms of PPI, it's 295, so maybe not up there amongst other flagship 5-inch Android models, but on its own, like I said, day-to-day use is not going to be an issue. Now, there's one thing which struck me as weird. The battery life on this is pretty good, but what's odd is you can't change the battery. So if I pop open the back here, put that down, You can actually see right there, that's where you put in a micro SD card storage and of course your SIM card as well, but you can't take out the battery, which is unusual considering the back can come off. The good news is the battery should last you quite a long time. It's 2,888 mAh, which if you compare to something like the Note 2 was 3,001, the Note 3 is 3,002. So it's right up there with the Note series, which obviously has a far bigger screen, which will take up a lot more battery power. So when you take this home, 2,880 mAh should last you a day plus a little bit more. And I'm really, really quite happy with that. Let me just pop the case back on. Now, as for the camera, that's about 8 megapixels. In terms of getting out there and taking shots with nice clear light, it should do you nicely. There's basic settings when you take your picture. There's video, there's your normal pictures, obviously. There's also HDR and another thing where you can swap faces as well. Nothing outstanding, nothing that really says, wow, I really want to try out this camera, but it'll certainly get the job done, although it will suffer in low light settings. Although, once again, most camera smartphones will of course do that. Very pretty though, very pretty. So what I think about the Z30 in closing? Well, I haven't really touched on it yet, but the updated OS is pretty nifty, 10.2, much better than what we saw previously, and it makes its debut here on the Z30. So let me just try to show you some of the key things. One thing, which is the biggest, I would say, would be the Priority Hub, as you can see right there, bringing you the biggest news that you would need. Now the build, the phone itself, not including the OS here, is much better than what we saw previously. So the Z30 is definitely a step up, and obviously with apps having improved more on offer, there's no reason not to get this if you're already using a BlackBerry. However, I can't justify switching to this from, say, an iPhone or something which is Android, because it just simply isn't enough just yet. And we all know about the troubles which BlackBerry are having right now. Saying that though, if they continue to build devices like this, it will certainly be a big, big improvement on what we've previously seen, and they can continue to improve even better.